Michael, I see you up front there. Thank you, Mike from Purdue.
Yes. So I had a question for everyone. So aside from the technical skills and the problem-solving skills, what's the most valuable thing, that you wish you would have done, junior and senior year, even if not sophomore year, and to develop a skill, I guess, let's say a soft skill, what would that skill be?
I like it. So if you had a redo, if you had a couple of redos, what would they be back in college? So we got the chin rub, we got the eyes staring into space. Wes thinking, shit, I don't know, I wouldn't have done anything different. I nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to sweat here. Hang on.
Oh, well, okay. I'll give this one a shot. I think as a soft skill, I mean, I'll go with, I think, being able to talk in kind of, how do I say, like a business lingo, like being able to converse, to negotiate, with other people. That can be important even if you're kind of, the guy behind the scenes, behind the computer, to kind of advance in the private industry, in business in general. Somebody else was talking about, is it helpful to have business classes? That those will probably serve you well, regardless of what you do, because business is business. So, I think if there, how do you go about that? Part of it's just, a lot of it is just experience with being able to negotiate in business transactions and be able to think about asking the right questions. So, those kinds of things are good, and maybe that's something that comes out of an internship, or even not mock interviews, but that's more for job finding. But being able to kind of hone those skills, being able to talk with other people, and work on that.
Yeah, I think my answer would be pretty similar. I would stress just communication in general as a very, very important soft skill, both for doing work, once you have a job, and finding a job and getting a job. Um, Personally, I think writing is really important, especially for resumes and cover letters and things like that. Um, I guess I don't remember. I think the question was, what would I have done differently? I think I would have worked more on speaking and like leadership, I guess. Putting myself in more situations where I would be able to talk to a group and share my ideas, and especially in a persuasive manner, because I think those situations really help once you start interviewing. And that can sometimes be the most nerve-wracking part of the job finding experience, and it's just really good to get that experience there. And if you don't have it, what I did essentially was I just applied to a bunch of places and did a bunch of interviews for places that maybe I didn't really want to go to, but I just went to the interviews anyway because I get to talk to this guy and tell him what my interests are, and even if he gives me the job and I may not accept it, I get that experience of doing the interview. And usually they go really badly if you don't want the job, but at least you know what questions they're going to ask, so when there's that one job that you really want, you're well prepared for it.
So I'm going to run the risk of being really corny here, but I'm just going to give it a shot. So Sun Yat-sen had a cultural transformation a couple years ago where we call it the dark ages. We weren't really doing too well as a company, and then our current CEO stepped in and he instituted this cultural program for all employees, and basically produced a six-pronged approach to culture at Sun Edison. And one of those prongs is called Think Positive. And now, honestly, like all these prongs, it's basically corporate BS, but we kind of just went along with it because, you know, we wanted the paycheck. But think positive kind of resonated with me a couple months ago. I'm sure all of you guys at college are aware that like people give you a lot of work, and sometimes you know you feel like it's really overwhelming, and you go up to your friends after class and like, I have so many assignments to do. I'm not going to be able to hang out tonight. My weekend's completely shot. Some people don't realize that you might want to take. I mean, people try to take pride in the amount of work they have because it makes them sound legit. It's like, yeah, I have so many assignments, but they're giving me so many responsibilities. And I think it's really important to be able to contextualize that work and try your best to find enjoyment in what you do. Because if you're doing all this work just for the sake of saying you're busy, I mean, it's really not worth it. I had this situation a couple months ago. I was working with one of my friends at Senenis, and I was trying to figure out a commercial deal with a new customer. And I had a bunch of numbers on a whiteboard just trying to figure out how can we best structure this so we have the best discount rate for the customer, that we can make the most money from a power purchase agreement. And I was just stressing my mind out, and I had no idea what was going on. And I looked at him, and he's like, this is really fun. And I stopped, and I looked at him like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. Like, how are we going to figure this out? He's like, this is like, I mean, he told me that this was a kind of strategic, really challenging work that he joined Sun Edison to do in the first place. And, you know, as simple as that was, it really blew my mind that I really wasn't looking at my responsibilities as more than just simple assignments. Like, I really wanted to be able to find positivity and enjoyment in what I did. So at college, I know that, you know, you have a lot of assignments that you really don't want to do, but even if it's just one of those, I'd say do your best to figure out, you know, contextualize it. Say, this is going to help me in the long run. This is really interesting, and I enjoy what I do. That's a really valuable soft skill, and in a career, when you're working with a lot of different people, having that positivity in a team environment is really valuable. Cue the violins and flowers and everything.
Wes, it's a great answer. It really is. In fact, these are all just outstanding answers on your redos.